Hi, my name is Dewey Hoagland, and this is Project 7. So the functions I've here are A, E, and F. So we'll start with A. So first I'm going to define the function. So is sorted, and we're going to take list as parameter. Then for I in range of 1 to length of list, I'm going to return false if the element in index I is less than the one before it. So if list I is less than list I minus 1, and as you can see, that is why I used 1 as the first number, just because there's no element before the one in index 0. So if it goes through this and this is never true, then it's just going to return, it'll just return true because the list is in ascending order. Next we go on to E. So the first thing I do is open the file, words.txt. Then, so this is the first function. So we're going to see how much time it takes. So we'll import time, t0 equals time dot time. We're going to create the initial list, indexed, and word. Okay, so for I in file read, we're going to read every single character of file read. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to add each letter to the word if it isn't a space. So right here, if it is a space, then we're going to add the word to the file list, and then we're going to start word over again and declare an empty string. And we're going to go through this, and we'll find every word in the file, and it'll add it to file list. Then we're going to append the last word of the file to the list after the loop is done, and then we're going to print the file list to see what we get. And then we'll take the time it took to do that, and we'll print the time elapsed as well. So for the second function, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to check the time. We're going to create the initial list, index, and word. We're basically going to do everything the same, but we're also going to bring the index of the file back to 0. So when it starts reading it again, it's going to read it from the beginning. So do the same thing for every space. Add the word prior to that space to the list. Declare the word as an empty string afterwards. Then we're going to add each letter to the word if it isn't a space. And we're going to add the last word of file to the list. So basically the only thing we're doing different is instead of appending it, we're going to add it in this way. And we'll do that for every single time we're adding something to the end of something. Right? And then afterwards we're just going to close the file, and we're going to print the file list again. Then we'll take the time it took to do that function, and we'll print the time elapsed. Right, and then for F, we're going to define the function as define bisect. We'll take sorted list and target value. We'll define the index initially as the midpoint, so index equals the length of sorted list divided by 2. Then, so while true, return the index of the element at index of the sorted list, or if the element at the index of the sorted list is the target value. So if it is, we'll just return the index, and if it isn't, we'll check if the element at index is more than the target value, and if it is, we'll divide the index by 2. And we'll also return none if the index can't go any lower. So let's say we keep on doing this and we get to 0, we know that it won't be in there. So next, if it's not more than, it has to be less than because it's not equal to. So if the element index of the sorted list is less than the target value, we'll find the index of the second midpoint. We'll return none if the index can't go any higher. So let's say we went all the way up and we got to the length of the sorted list minus 1, since the index starts at 0, of course. We'll just return none because we know that the target value is not in the list. If that's not true, we'll just say the index is equal to the index plus the length of the sorted list minus the index divided by 2. Then we'll set the index equal to, alright, and then we'll just keep on running it until it returns the index, it returns none, or it returns none. So we're going to go ahead and test these out. So let's test out is sorted first. So as we know, is sorted, we'll see if it's in the list is in ascending order. So let's run that. So of course 0, 1, 1, 2 is going to be true, and 0, 5, 6, 1 should be false. So let's say if it's true. Alright, so it says true and false. So we know that is true. And so we know that that function worked. Let's look at part E. So the words.txt file is I am Dewey. So we'll see if that works. And we ran it, and each time we took the file list and we printed it, and we printed the time it took. So for the first function, it says I am Dewey, so that one worked, and it took 0.0 seconds. Second one, we did I am Dewey, so that one worked too, and that one also took 0.0 seconds. Alright, so last one, we're going to check if the bisect function worked. So 0, 1, 4, 7, 7, so that should give us 3 because it's an index 3, 5, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That should give us none because it's not in there. And negative 1 should not be in this list as well, so that one should also give us none. So let's see if it worked. Alright, so 3, none, and none. Alright, so they all worked fine. Thank you.